Hello, Culture Matters podcast. Before I introduce you to our guest, here's a quote I picked just for this episode. You cannot push anyone up a ladder unless he be willing to climb a little himself. Andrew Carnegie. Of course, I had to pick Andrew Carnegie, the one and only for the one and only Christine Beckwith, who's back, a staple on the Culture Matters podcast, a friend of the Culture Matters podcast, a founder with vision, we can say. If you don't know Christine, start listening to the podcast. That'd be nice. It'd be great. Read her book, Finding Honor, buy her books, digest her books, follow her to learn. Today, we're going to be diving into starting a business. Okay, right now, the people on TV are telling us we're, I guess, in a recession or some downturn type cycle. You started your business from scratch in a time of uncertainty. When was it and what was that like?
Yeah. So it was 2018 that we officially opened our doors. And what was it like? It was scary. It was scary in the sense that I obviously understood that I was leaving the safety, if you will, of having been a part of a corporation, technically speaking, a large group of people that, were running a business, and that most of my career, I had been at the boardroom table or with a group, a conglomerate, if you will, of people making decisions. And so the scary part comes in when you decide you're going to do something on your own. I think every entrepreneur, I think even originators that are leaving base salaries and becoming commission-based employees are leaving the comfort of that security. And obviously income has a lot to do with your fear about starting a business. So yeah, it was really, really scary. And I was emotionally motivated. So I can't really sit here and tell everybody, just take the leap. And I feel like people do pick businesses on their own for many reasons. I think sometimes people will do something because it's a passion. You see all these oddball businesses or eclectic type businesses. And, thank God we've got the guy that makes the wooden pinwheels for our lawn. I'm like, what would we do if we didn't have that?
Well, you mean professional otter petter is not?
Right. I'm saying, if you have a passion for building, carving wooden bears, then whatever the hell it is, it's a passion. But most of the time we're working for a means to an end. So there's a lot of psychology in opening your own business. A lot of great thinkers and very intelligent people will study markets and industries and make decisions to enter those fields because they believe, like investors on Wall Street, in a stock, in an industry, in the return of monies for trade of labor. And they aren't actually passionate about it. They just are entrepreneurs that have investment minds. And so I don't think you're asking me to describe every type of person that starts their own business. For me, I was running in my own mind away from a world I no longer felt I fit in. And that is I don't want it to be a slam on where I was, because a lot of people listening to this knows where I was. It really was just a personal thing, whereas I had outgrown my desire to sit around a table and have 20 people decide on a thing. I was ready to, go take something that I both had a passion for and a knowledge.
How does someone know listening this they're ready?
Great question. You have to be ready to suffer the passage from wherever you are working right now and the security that offers, if at all, and be willing to work for a future of income not yet seen. Day one of a new business is, unless you're running a 7-Eleven franchise and there's an opening day where you throw the doors open and everyone's likely to stop to buy something there, it's pretty much the unknown. Obviously you're either living in a virtual world where you're selling something in the World Wide Web, or you're a hard store that's selling a material that people physically buy. For me, I was opening a educational consulting firm for real estate and mortgage professionals. And it was national and virtual and allowed people to connect from anywhere in the world. And I was using my 32 years of experience to commoditize and monetize a level of business knowledge that I felt was necessary to help other people grow their businesses in those fields.
How long do you think, this is how I want to say it. You mean it wasn't a get rich quick?
No.
What do you tell people? What do you say to the people that may think that it could be easy or it could come quickly, or, this is gonna, this is gonna be so much more than whatever I was doing.
Yeah.
Where's the reality check? And then what do they need to know?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm watching a lot of new businesses right now that are opening within my firm that we're consulting. And then I'm also watching a lot of people out there, various trades too, that I know of doing it. And I think everybody's trying to find customer number one in the first month. And most people are not, they have a business plan, they have a pro forma, which is, an accounting spreadsheet that conceptualizes assumed business, written out, annualized typically in front of you. And it considers the cost of your product and the expense to operate and then proposed revenue. And those revenue proposals become targets. Like, I need month one, I need one other employee. I hope to make this much money and sell this much in month two. I hope to do this. And so it's funny because I just looked at my pro forma that was built in 2017 for 2018 for day one of my company.
Oh, well, yeah. What was that?
Well, let me tell you, in the first 90 days, if I had looked at this pro forma, I would have felt a magnificent failure because I had numbers that were like Pollyanna business growth, and I had real people helping me too. So I'm like, what the hell were they thinking as well? Like, nobody had logic with this pro forma, and I'm saying this as a business consultant. The great news about this is I had been forecasting business for my industry within the company that I worked at the branch level, and getting within 10% of accuracy of an annualized forecast pretty much consistently for about 20 years.
Wow.
So I was good at it. So I'm joking. That is a true story, actually, that my pro forma was overshot. But I'm joking in that, there was no winging it. It was just that I was in a completely different field. I wasn't building a bank anymore. I was building a consulting firm, which is, a separation. The great news is I did like the triple Lindy, which was like, didn't hit it the first quarter, didn't hit it the second quarter. And then holy smokes, like the momentum came.
Why?
And then I think I'm a hard worker. And so day one, I've told everyone, I literally stopped working at where I was working on a Friday. And on the Monday following, I went to work for myself at 2020 Vision, threw the virtual doors open, some ads ran. I had 5 one-page ads running in the national mortgage magazines. And it said, ready or not, here I come, with a picture of me with my arms folded all tough with a leather jacket. And I went and put a whiteboard up on a chair next to my desk. And I wrote customer number one on the top of this whiteboard.
Okay.
And that day, I sent out about 50 personal messages to people I knew in the industry and said, I just wanted to let you know that I opened a coaching company. And please keep me in mind if you know people that need business coaching in the mortgage and real estate space. And the next day I got up and I did the same thing. And the next day and the next day and the next day.
Was there worry that people wouldn't respond, or people would tell you to go away, or you'd feel like, disrespected?
Nope. I am fearless. I hate to say this because it sounds a certain way, but I'm just going to be completely honest. I have so much belief in myself. I always have, even with having insecurities in other areas of my life, when it came to me betting on me for work, I had this passion, and I really do feel it's a little bit contagious with people. And I don't say that in a power mongering way, but I really believe in myself, and I believe in what I know to be things that will work to build businesses. And I have always been over exuberant when I'm talking to people about their business. And so if you tell me your story and your passion and your mission, and I get locked in with that, and then we break it down into a business plan, and I'm your accountability partner, well, we're going to run the ropes on this plan. And I'm going to show up tomorrow and be like, did you dig the 10 ditches that we said you had to dig yesterday? How did it feel? Oh my God, let's go again today. And I found there was endless amounts of energy for me to give to people. And this was tested over 24 years prior to me opening my own business, because I had to help the companies I was with open branches and go into new markets and all of that stuff. And I just really focused on the one day in front of me. Like, I do have business plans today. Everybody's operating from business plans. But right now, today, Friday, there is things that need to happen today. And they are tied to the productivity and return and retention of my firm. Those things will happen before we shut the lights off today.
Wow.
By all the people that work for me, and they know what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for emails. I'm not looking for conversations. I'm not looking for phone calls and conjecture. If you are in charge of this part of my company, whatever it is, there is something that makes that job productive today. And that is what I want to see. And there is measurements in place that tells me whether you had a productive day or not. And so everybody's always focused on the most productive thing in their job. And then I kind of have checks and balances.
What happens if those things don't happen? Right? There's someone listening to this right now thinking, hold on, did I do what I
Well,
was
for me,
supposed to do today?
There's a no exception rule. Like, nobody on my team is unproductive. They may have a day of no productivity, but there's somebody there. It doesn't go by silently. So, like, I'm a big proponent, and we pretty much tell people that are working with us, like, if you have a mortgage company right now and you're drowning and your volume's down, and we know where the rate situation is, and you don't know where your next, what month is going to look like, or how your revenue is coming in. My next question for you is, why not? Even in this bad market, how do you not know I'm going to lose $40,000 next month or $4 million next month? Because all of the numbers you have to that point tells you the story. And by the way that the way mortgages are born, there's a pregnancy. And so there's no physical way for mortgage companies to not know in a 6-month time frame, based on head count, what we call leading activities and pre-sales activities. There's no way for us to not know what's going on unless we simply aren't measuring activities. And so you have to be willing in a sales force to say, we have activity trackers, for instance, in our file vault, in our digital dashboards. And one of the first things we do is have everybody download this activity tracker. This is like, if I got you and you wanted to lose 100 pounds and I was a nutritionalist, and I know this as well, the very first thing I would do is have you capture everything you eat, how much you eat, when you eat. And we would then have a basis and we would want to do this in your natural environment. Ideally, we would want to measure your eating habits untamed, so that we could then measure and put in place the plan that would change you and put you on the course of your weight loss. That's a metaphor for the mortgage industry. In order for companies to say, well, listen, we need to make $10 million next month. If you have a sales force of 125 people and you have reporting, I can tell you whether that's going to happen or not. I can actually tell you if it's going to happen. Not because 125 people sit in a room and everybody holds hands and we say, we need to make 10 million next month. Who is with me? And 125 hands go in the air. That's not business management. Business management is analytics of these 125 guys, 10 of them consistently put up 5 units a month and have for the last 6 months. 20 of them put up 3, 40 of them put up 1, 60 of them are putting up zeros. You got to go backwards to figure out how you're going forward. This market is no longer unpredictable. This market is actually very predictable right now, even though we're not where we want to be, it's still predictable. And there's diagnosis, we're down a rabbit hole a little bit here, but I want you to understand if there's illnesses going on in the mortgage industry right now. Some of it is ignorance at the top, CEOs that don't even know what is wrong other than the rates have come up. And they're right now on their hands and knees somewhere praying for a lower rate and thinking that their organization is going to go under because there's absolutely no cough medicine or pill that's going to fix their ailing sales force. I don't feel that way. Sitting in the trenches of large organizations, small, medium, and independent brokers and independent loan originators on the retail side, and hundreds of them, I can tell you, I haven't missed a day of this dismal market yet. I was there when Wall Street bell rang in November of 2021 and the rate came up and everybody began to pray that it was a moment in time. And I already knew where we were headed. And so for every day in between, we've been here helping mortgage professionals figure out how to sell this market. There is a way to sell this market. There's a wrong way to sell this market. There's a lot of stuff not happening just out of people, personally, loan officers not believing in helping their client save overall money by increasing their interest rate and raising their principal balance and payment. And that, by the way, is really poor origination expertise that is brought on by a spoiled origination society that spent too many years doing rate and term refinance and not understanding what real financial wellness looks like, the length of time a mortgage interest rate should live in a household. I see loan officers turning customers away that are in desperate financial need because they look blankly at their interest rate and say, go get a HELOC, come back to me when the rates come down, or I'll call you. And honestly, if those people are on my roster and I was running Acme Mortgage today, those people would be fired. I would literally know at this point who had the nuts, I don't know how else to say it, to sell this market and who did not.
Is that analogous to the person that's listening to this that may be wanting to start their business right now or already in the throes of it and it feels as though they're failing? They're not sold. Like
they're either uneducated, or listen, it's a different work, environment right now. Like where we were the last 3 years was, and I don't know if this is what you want me to talk about, because I know we were talking about how to start a business and we're kind of digressed at this moment, but I think this requires a really hard, it's hard. You're having a lot of difficult conversations with a lot of consumers that aren't happy with the economy. You're having tough conversations if they're stuck in debt. People don't want to give up their low rate because they feel like that's stupidity. And so your ability to look at the overall financial picture of a person and give good advice is going to require you looking past the mortgage interest rate. Going back to mortgage companies and understanding, your original question was kind of like, how does a person know if they're on track with the tough start that they get? Like, how did I know when I started 2020 that I was willing to, like, each and every day, do things that I didn't know? Well, I know what step one is. And step one was find sales, because, you can't have operations or workflows, which were also on my mind in the background. I knew once I had a person that was going to buy coaching, that I had a semblance of a workflow written, because I had 2 employees when I started the company, part-time employees. And one was going to send out welcome kits and the welcome email and did a few other admin things for me. And the other person was going to make sure they got into this digital dashboard. I had bought software and curriculum and make sure the student was tied into their first month's assignment. And I'm not afraid to say today, we did not have, the Eiffel Tower of curriculum built. We had like the base floor of the Eiffel Tower built. And we were saying, come in and you're going to be able to climb this like the Eiffel Tower, because next month we're going to open another door and next month we're going to open another door. And the truth is, it was like people were on a train and we were building the tracks in front of the train as it was moving. Like we were building next month's
Do
curriculum.
you think that's a key factor in building a business? Like it's almost
I
unavoidable.
think action is a key factor. So yes,
What type of growth did you have from year 1 to year 3?
like 3,000%, over 3,000%.
So can you just say that a couple more times? That way the audience can
I
understand.
know it's
Maybe they
it's
could pay attention.
mind-blowing.
And do you think it's helpful or not helpful? Well, outside of being helpful, because
Yeah.
that's kind of self-evident. It transcends just mortgages. I'm talking about business. here,
Yeah,
like general business.
yeah, we have general business.
So
as
you
well.
had 3,000% growth.
Mhm.
Why?
I honestly believe the minute we had 50 clients, we had everything we needed to explode, because I knew we were going to deliver good service. I knew we were different than anything that had ever been in existence with the mortgage industry. So we were the new shiny penny. It would be like, Chick-fil-A moving into your neighborhood if you've been going to the next town over, and all of a sudden that's just like the line on Friday nights is out the door. We were not, Chick-fil-A is actually a bad metaphor because that's a franchise and there's a lot of them. We were the sole coaching firm that was very different. And quite frankly, I was going up against people that had been around a long time, and their coaching tactics were basic, and they were also probably rudimentary, and I would say limited. And pretty much if you went there, you were going to overpay, because they understood that bankers had insecurities, had money, and that combination is awesome. And so they didn't, I wanted to build the Walt Disney World of professional development. I wanted people to work on their health and wellness, their mindset, their emotional intelligence, in addition to their business plans, time management, marketing, and sales. I didn't want to address, pull your calculator out and this is how you feel in IRLA. Although today we have 14 educational tracks. So if you come in, the very first thing that happens is we diagnose your level of expertise. And so we kind of know, based off questions, what you know and what you don't know. And so if you come to us and you're $100 million producer a year, and you're like, I'm crushing it. I do 25 units a year. I've won my circle of excellence the last 2 years, but I believe in coaching. I want someone to kick my ass every day. I want to remain the Tom Brady of Bank of America. And we're like, okay, Tom Brady, we're going to put you on this track, which is our expert track. And what happens is you are only going into classrooms with the elite. You are being put with the most expert consultants. You are operating day one, bypassing probably about 20 steps that like the brand new originator is going to be put through. And so you're not sitting, and we had to learn this because year one, everybody was sitting together. And then when we had a new loan officer sitting in a room where the conversation was over that person's head, it was defeating. We could see that. And that's where my competitor had failed to that point and still is failing, quite frankly. I think they have, 3 levels. It's like asking if you want chocolate, vanilla, or strawberry ice cream. And we just felt like our system needed to be more intuitive. So when we had 50 clients, we were wowing these 50 people. Like they were leaving going, like we were the word on the street. And it spread like wildfire. It was like, I was paying $5,000 at this other coaching firm, and now I'm paying $500. And I'm getting 20 hours more a month consulting. And so the price point also was a point of entry that made the doors just swing open, because we knew we were going to take all the money from subscriptions, pool it together, and I was going to reinvest it in the next, consultant coming in and the next level curriculum and the next expertise, and the next tool and the next event and the next anything that could be poured back on the clients. And I was going to have X amount of profit margin. And that made room for me to have thousands of people, which is the difference between me and the mom and pop coaching firm that can only, deal with 50 people, who, by the way, I've heard will argue, yeah, we charge $5,000 a person because we give very, customized, very personal consulting. We do as well. We have 24 executive coaches who are sitting, in upwards of 20, 25 hours a week. You can multiply that if you pull your calculator out. It's hundreds of hours a week in consulting with clients. And we're paying those consultants 3 figures an hour. So they're getting consulting fees. We're pulling those expenses out of the cumulative tuition, but we're setting somebody up on a subscription that is infinite. It isn't a contract for 6 months. It's not a contract for 12 months. It is, you're here until you ask to leave. And when you ask to leave, we let you go because it's not the mafia.
Mm-hmm.
But to answer you, it just became the word on the street.
How important is to reinvest into the business?
Huge. I didn't pay myself $1 of the capital that was beginning to come in until month 19. That's no joke. And when you leave a job like I left, where you make 5 figures a month, it's very difficult to even conceptualize going that long. But I had saved a lot of money personally. I had very low debt. I obviously planned for this moment. And I just remanufactured everything into the, going from, let me just put it in perspective. By the end of the first year, I had 14 employees. And by the end of the second year, I had 28. So I literally doubled. And the end of the third year, I broke 40. And today we have 64 contractors and employees that are manufacturing the product that we deliver. And that is with us downsized by about 50% from last year. We're still staffed for the 100% we had last year. And I've made a personal decision to carry that staff with a thinner margin. Not only because I want to try to do good by the families that are here, but because I think it's a really short-sighted thing for a business person to lay people off, only to try to hire them back at a later date and go through the growing pains and put all the strain on an existing team of a shorter staff. And so I'm hedging against this market turning back around. And I guess at some point, if it doesn't, I'll have to make some tough decisions. But right now, I'm okay not, I don't need to be making hands over fist money. We need to survive. We need to do good. We are doing good. And we need to get from point A to point B. And right now we're in the middle of those 2 points, right?
In closing, what do you want the listener that's hearing this right now, who is uncertain, who's been anxious, to take away from this conversation to go do?
Yeah, I mean, if you're thinking of starting a business or you're starting in originations and you're in this market, there's 2 pieces of advice. If you're starting out, bet on yourself. The one thing you can count on is your work ethic every day. Show up for yourself. I say it every day. I put a video out yesterday and I said, are you going to show up for yourself? That isn't me asking you if you're going to show up to my class for me or show up for my curriculum. That's me saying, listen, I'm a gym. I open my gym every single day. Well, your business is a gym that you decided to be a member of. That's what your business is. You had an idea of your physical fitness in business. You are making a commitment when you open a business or work for yourself to a level of physical fitness. It's just like the gym. And every day you don't show up to your gym, you are not going to your business will not be physically fit. It cannot get fit sitting on the couch. It cannot get healthier, stronger, or any of that by sitting on the sidelines and saying you have a gym or you have this business. Saying you have a business, sharing it on social media, doing all those things does not make you have a great business. Working out makes you have a good business, and working out is working in your business. So that's where you're going to find me in the gym of 2020 every day, all day. I am the person who sits in my business and I literally am working and breaking a sweat every single day. And you know what? My business shows up. My business shows the proof in that. That's true in my physical life personally. Like I'm a person that believes in physical fitness, but I can't say it better than that. I have people that quit coaching and they'll tell me this wasn't for me. And we keep track of everything they do. And I'll look and they didn't show up. They didn't show up for themselves. They didn't do curriculum. They didn't go to classes. And I call them out on their way out as I walk them to the door and open the door to let them leave. And I say, you know, I want to tell you something. You picked me as your coach and you paid me for 12 months for nothing. And I know you're leaving because you can't stomach paying, continuing to pay for nothing. And I don't blame you because I wouldn't pay for nothing either. But if there's one lesson that you need to learn leaving here is that you should not start something that you're not going to dedicate yourself to. And you shouldn't pay for something ever that you're not going to dedicate yourself to. Your problem with your business and you personally has nothing to do with the specifics of what you're doing. It's what you're not doing. That's your problem that I can see. And I think that's good advice for them to think about. And that isn't me shaming them. That is me. And I've had people say, well, hell, I'm going to stay then. And I think, great. And they're like, that's what you did that for. It's reverse psychology. And I said, no, but if it makes you want to try again, I'm down with that. And if I have a personal benefit from that, so be it. I'm not ashamed to say that. However, I'm running a business here. And if you go out into the world and say 2020 wasn't for me, you're giving me a bad testimonial. When in fact, you weren't for you. I was for you. I showed up every day with my classes and my coaches and my curriculum, and you didn't show up. So am I not a fit or are you not a fit? And so that's kind of like, you know, where I would put this, no matter if you're new or old.